Well, so we're ready now to give you a dose of morning news. What is making topical news across the media? And we start with our headlines before we give you the main details of the news. And government reiterates it cannot meet organised labour's demand for a reduction in utility tariffs as they've been recently increased, explaining it could cost the state as much as 207 million Ghana cedis.
And then Parliament threatens to take action against MPs who defy its summons after the Finance Minister fails to appear to answer questions for a second time in day 3. Now I'm going on to our first story. Organised Labour is advising government and the PURC to revise its stance on the recent increment in electricity and water tariffs, as their strike it allows to come off gravely impact on the economy. It says the November 18 day set for the strike action was to give government enough time to redeem itself and negotiate after with Labour Front to address the issue.
Organised Labour, comprising 8 labour unions, including the Trade Union Congress, POTAG, NAGRAT, JUSAG, NAT, and the ICU, signed a communique on Tuesday to officially declare their intention to embark on the nationwide strike action after several negotiations to reduce the recent increment in electricity and water tariffs failed. Spokesperson for the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Eliezer Bobowo, told Joy News the recommendations in the technical report failed to directly respond to the demands of organised labour, hence the strike call.
The technical working group came out with a 60% recommendation that government cannot go below that. Embedded in that 60% are some conditionalities that are hidden from the public. Now, if they say 60%, what does it mean? Let's ask ourselves. It means that the tariffs on street lights are going to go up. Rural electrification is going to go up, and others. If you tabulate all these areas that the extra cost will be shifted to, it is going to be an additional 16%. Add up the 16% to the 60% that they are putting to the public, as if the 60% is standing idle. It is not standing idle. So you add up the 16 to the 60, you have 76. And if you deduct 76% from the 78.9%, what is the difference?
He explained what will happen between now and the November 18 climax, when all workers are expected to stay at home.
First of all, there's going to be regional demonstrations. Then we would withdraw our services completely, not only the workers in the formal sector, but workers in the informal sector as well. And let me use this platform to appeal to the media that please join us. This is a clarion call to you to join hands with organised labour, because all of us are going to be at the suffering end at the end of the day.
Members of organised labour, meanwhile, are still in red armbands to register their displeasure over government's failure to address their concerns whilst awaiting the November 18 strike.
Well, we still remain on labour issues as government has already reiterated that organised labour's demands for a reduction in utility tariffs cannot be met. Addressing journalists at a media briefing at the Flagstaff House, Deputy Information Minister Felix Kwachiofosu explained while they cannot ask the PURC to review the tariffs, it can also not afford the amount needed to subsidise the tariffs beyond what it has already done. He estimates government will need about 207 million Ghana cedis more to defray the shortfall in cost of production.
As I speak to you, the laying of offshore pipelines is 95% complete. The laying of onshore pipelines is 90% complete. And the gas processing plant itself is above 55% complete, and that will make available cheaper gas for electricity generation. I spoke about the T3 power plant, which is complete. It's added 132 megawatts to the stock. The T2 power plant, which already exists, is being expanded. It will now produce an additional 110 megawatts when the project is completed in 2015. I spoke about the CERN power project yesterday, 330 megawatts, expected to be completed by 2015. Then the General Electric project, another 350 megawatts. There's also the Pung thermal power plant, which will add another 220 megawatts. This, coupled with improvements in the transmission and distribution sectors, should enable us to achieve the sort of efficiency that would drive down the costs of production and translate into cheaper tariffs for our people.
The Deputy Information Minister called on organised labour to rescind its decision to embark on the industrial action as threatened, since government is addressing their concerns.
Government respects the rights of organised labour to stage these public manifestations. Of course, we would urge restraint and circumspection at this time, especially given the enormous commitment that government has shown towards engaging organised labour and other stakeholders in constructive discussions and dialogue about the way forward on this matter.
He then explained the financial implications should the demands of organised labour be met.
It would mean that government has to cough up in excess of 207 million Ghana cedis to make up for the loss that will be incurred by the utility service providers. It has implications on the financial viability of the utility service providers. It can lead to a situation where the system grinds to a halt, and that would lead to a recurrence of the frequent power outages, which we have come to call doomso. There are issues that involve government and organised labour as far as wage negotiations are concerned. We have to pay their back pay after their salaries were increased by 10%. It has implications for that. Government has to engage in some infrastructure projects. There are 200 senior high schools that must be constructed. There are road projects that must be constructed. There are water systems that must be fixed and all that. Meeting the demands of organised labour as they have tabled it now has implications for all these important expenditure.
He noted that the Labour Front falls within the over 50% of the population who enjoy utility subsidies by government. He added government is taking the necessary measures to deal with indebtedness by public institutions and to cut down on wastage. One of such measures, he says, is asking government officials to pay for the electricity they use. Beyond all the lines drawn into the debate, including political lines, the demands by organised labour for the adjustment of tariffs downwards are standing. So is the position of government. Government says it cannot compel the PURC to go against the decision that they have made. It can only subsidise, but that has serious financial implications for the state and for other developmental projects. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House.
Still on tariffs, now the Minister for Information and Media Relations, Mahama Ayariga, has also been reacting to the threats organised by the Labour. Tells Joy News government can no longer subsidise utilities but rather channel those funds into other sectors, particularly on health and education.
Mahama Ayariga says the Trades Union Congress would have to reconsider its threat due to the country's current financial predicament.
And hoping that TUC will appreciate the challenges involved, because even the technical team which involved the TUC came to a conclusion that it will be difficult to review the tariffs downwards. We'll continue to engage the TUC. I mean, it's a reputable organization, and I'm sure the individual workers themselves appreciate the issues involved. And so I think that within the TUC, they should have an internal dialogue and see whether this strike is necessary. They said they want their regions to discuss it among themselves and to embark on a number of actions. So I think that we should leave it to the regions to also have that engagement and see whether they think this is something that they should be doing.
He explained government is already subsidizing the utilities and cannot do it anymore.
Well, I mean, there's some subsidy built into the existing tariffs, even as we speak. The pricing for household users is different from the pricing for commercial users and etc. But I think the issue now is how much of it should the government take on. Government's resources are really your resources. It's your tax money. So if you say we should tax you and put it in electricity tariffs, it's an easy thing to do, but whether it's a wise economic option is another matter. And we think that so far it hasn't proven to be effective when you put too much subsidy in certain things. So the debate is going on. We would prefer to put that money into healthcare, in education, and etc.
He says government will meanwhile schedule a meeting with the TUC over the matter subsequently.
The parliamentary staff are threatened to embark on a strike over their conditions of service. They say they have not had their service conditions increased since 2005. They are also calling for an investigation into a contract worth 1.4 billion Ghana cedis awarded to a consultant to review the salary structure of the staff, but which has yet to be done, even though the claim payment has been made. Though they have not specified a date for their strike, the chairman of the local union says it will soon be embarking on the strike action if nothing is done about their situation.
Clause 3 mandates the House Committee to consider all matters connected with the provision of services to members of Parliament and staff, including accommodation, catering, medical care, library, research, working and other facilities. But this, the parliamentary staff say, has largely been ignored. Chairman of the local union, Maxwell Tete, explains to Joy News one of their major concerns, apart from the salary, is the lack of end-of-service benefits which some other segments of the staff enjoy.
How could someone work in Parliament House for over a decade? My pay, as I speak with you, is not even up to 1,000 cedis after 13 years in service in Parliament. And the most annoying part of it is when you are going on retirement, you go home empty-handed. All right? And those at the top echelon are those that, but this so-called review or whatever is favoring. Whilst those who are down the ladder, those who do all this menial job and whatever, are being sidelined and marginalized because we are where we are.
He also questioned the outcome of the work of a consultant hired to review their salaries.
From my speaker came and inherited the rot and whatever in the system that is going on. So as I said this question, how could the whole money, 1.4 billion close, be given to a consultant and given 6 months to complete a job? And as we speak now, they themselves cannot even tell you exactly whether we've done A or B.
The deputy majority leader is, however, urging the staff to exercise restraint.
To leave the workers in Parliament on strike, it will affect the work of Parliament. And I don't think that we should go to that extent. If it is true that they have threatened to go on strike, I'm pleading with them not to put it into action.
The Speaker, in the meantime, has met with the chairman of the union and has promised to help resolve the issue.
Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament Edward Dowajaho has threatened to take action against ministers who fail to answer to its summons. He was reacting to the failure of the finance minister to appear before the House on 2 different occasions to assist in the amendment of the bill.
The minister is to aid the House amend some clauses in the bill, which is still at the consideration stage. The VAT 2013 bill itself will inform the deliberations and decisions of the House on the 2014 budget expected to be presented to the House in November. It will also aid the work of the Finance Committee in its oversight responsibility over the requests that will be made in the budget statement. The minister, however, failed to show up today after the discussion on the bill was postponed on Tuesday when he was originally billed to appear. This, the MPs did not find amusing.
Yesterday we came, we left at 12. Today we are coming, we are leaving at 12. It's not that we don't have other things to do, but it doesn't give a good impression of parliamentary business. We were told yesterday that this is a very busy time. This cannot be. the press, the report will not be looking good on us. So please, I urge you, let us take these matters seriously. Otherwise, the opposite is going to happen, and I will be fully in support if my colleagues go in that direction.
The Speaker, who was also not enthused by the Finance Minister's no-show, and warned that sanctions will soon begin to apply for such conduct.
They have been advised that this is a major bill, as you have indicated some few minutes ago. So there's business in the House. So I will give them honeymoon for this week. For this week, I'll give all the ministers who have business in the House honeymoon. For next week, the honeymoon will be over. If you have a minister who have a business in the House, you must come and transact your business.
But the Deputy Majority Leader does not quite agree. The Finance Minister and his colleagues deserve a honeymoon. He spoke to Joy News after the adjournment of sitting.
I would not say that they should be given a honeymoon. A minister has a responsibility to be in Parliament, to do government business. And so they must come. And so we don't need to go to the extent of pleading with them or giving them honeymoon.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, who duly honored her invitation, provided answers to questions put to her by members in the chamber. The Minister of Agriculture, who was also expected to appear before the House, was however also absent. Sitting was adjourned to Thursday, October 31.
We turn our attention to health, and the Winnaba Government Hospital is making an appeal to the general public, private organizations and government to come to the aid of the hospital with medical supplies. This was after fire gutted its storehouse, destroying the entire stock of the hospital in the process. Unless there is some intervention, hospital authorities say they will have to work without supplies.
On Monday at 10:30 p.m., I was called that there's fire outbreak at the stores. So I rushed in and I saw the fire service ahead of me. So we came in and then they started bringing the fire down. The whole place was ablaze. Okay. And it was impossible to actually open the door and do whatever you want to do. But the experts who are the fire service actually did their job. So after 2 o'clock, the fire was able to be tamed, was brought down.
So what are some of the things that you keep here?
We have the laboratory reagents here. We have office consumables, medical consumables, surgical consumables, and other dressings. So and then our computers, because we're trying to digitalize the whole hospital. So we have a lot of computers here and printers with their toners, which was brought to us about 2 weeks ago for us to start phase 2 of our PHI system. And also, we're trying to prepare ourselves towards the Christmas festivities and the New Year, where accidents on our roads is on the increase. So we bought in more consumables in terms of handling accident victims, and then also any emergencies that will come our way. We took delivery of them on Thursday, last week Thursday, and on Monday night everything got burnt.
Okay, so has the fire personnel been able to tell you exactly what caused this?
Yeah, I think on Monday they helped us quench the fire. Yesterday they were here. Today too they were around. And then they've gone to prepare their report. And I think maybe by the close of the week we should get a report from them as to what caused the fire.
Were you able to retrieve some items?
No, actually nothing. Everything is gone down. So what we have, the little that we have on our wards, by way of 2 weeks supply to the wards and the various units. So if they are gone, and that's all, that means we are going to work without consumables. Okay. We will still appeal to the good people of Ghana to come to our aid.
The Winnaba Government Hospital in need of urgent medical help because fire just gutted the facility, the store facility more recently. And so wherever you are, if you know that you can extend the help, I believe it's the most appropriate thing to do, don't you think?
And a humane way to do that. Looking again at our headlines, government reiterates it cannot meet organized labor's demand for reduction in utility tariff, explaining it could cost the state as much as 207 million Ghana cedis.
Well, Parliament threatens to take action against MPs or ministers who defy summons after the finance minister failed to appear to answer questions for a second time in 3 days. Well, that very action by those ministers not appearing seem to have incurred the wrath of the leading members of Parliament. But that will be it for the news headlines. Next, we'll be having sports, but please get interactive. We have the social network pages right here for you to get communicative. And we have Joy News on TV, on Facebook, and also the short code 1760.
Okay, do stay on.
Good morning, I am Rashida Babakadiri. Time for us to talk sports on the AM show. It's proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Now, there's very sad news for Ghana, especially for the Black Stars, because their request, or the Ghana Football Association's request to have the second leg qualifier between Ghana and Egypt played at a neutral ground, has been turned down by World Football governing body FIFA. Now, the match is going to come off in Cairo, the Egyptian capital.
FIFA says the World Cup playoff between Egypt and Ghana would go ahead in Cairo, despite a request for next month's game to be moved to a neutral venue. The Ghana Football Association expressed concern at the security situation in the Egyptian capital as it urged the world's football governing body to find a safe and secure venue for the November 19 return leg. But FIFA, in a response to GFA, confirmed Cairo as the venue for the second leg match after writing to Egypt to provide the sport body with guarantees on the security situation for next month's tie. FIFA confirms the decision was based on guarantees received from the government of Egypt and CAF's decision to allow Ahly play their Champions League final game in Cairo. The decision means football fans would be allowed into the Air Defense Stadium for the game. The Black Stars romped to a 6-1 win over Egypt in the first leg of the two-legged playoff in Kumasi on 15th October.
All right, we'll still stick with the issue of Egypt, and the Egyptian FA has laughed off rumors circulating that each player is going to bag $1 million if they are able to beat Ghana in the second leg qualifier to qualify for Brazil 2014.
The Egyptian FA has laughed off reports circulating in the Ghanaian media that United Arab Emirates-based airline giants Fly Emirates have promised to pay each Egyptian player $1 million bonus if the Pharaohs manage to overturn their 6-1 deficit and qualify to the 2014 World Cup in Brazil ahead of the Black Stars in the second leg of the playoffs next month. The Egypt FA insists their initial arrangement with the Egyptian government for players and technical team should the Pharaohs surpass Ghana for Africa's last ticket to the 2014 World Cup still holds. It will be recalled the Pharaohs were promised a little over $43,500 if they achieve the country's long-awaited dream of a World Cup berth for the first time since 1990.
Right, I'm sure by now I won't say the dust has settled on this issue about the fact that some people are requesting that Coach Kwesi Appiah, who is head coach of the Black Stars, be giving technical assistance ahead of the Brazil 2014 World Cup if Ghana does qualify. Now, the opinions are divided. There are some who say yes, he does need a technical director, or he does need help in technical direction, and there are others who also say no, he is fine all by himself because he's been able to do this right from the beginning till now. Now, one other person who has added his voice to to those who think that Coach Kwesi Appiah is okay on his own is FA Technical Director Francis Otiakenteng. He believes that Kwesi Appiah is okay all by himself, and with the likes of himself and then Ben Kofi and Samade and all the other technical directors who are the FA, he believes that they can help Kwesi Appiah to achieve his aim when he gets to the World Cup in Brazil.
I believe Ghanaians, the citizenry, they have hope in Kwesi Appiah, and they have hope in the Technical and Development Committee set up by the Ghana Football Association, and then the Technical Directorate headed by Otiakenteng. I think we should be able to, if Kwesi needs any advice, which I think he has. So we haven't left him like that. We haven't left him like that. Or is it because we have not been coming to the forefront? It is not right, because Kwesi is matured. His team is very good. He even has a psychologist who is a very big coach. And in person of Professor Minta. Okay. He has Maswe Kunadu. He has the technical bench is good. So if Kwesi needs any help, he will definitely consult us. We have been sitting down with him. We have been holding series of meetings with him before, during, and after matches. For this very particular match that has been played, the one against Egypt. Before he left for Kumasi, the Technical and Development Committee sat down with him. We discussed issues which he definitely went through, implemented them.
Away from all the Black Stars brouhaha, let's talk money and let's talk bank issues now. Premiership outfit Amida's professionals are smiling all the way to the bank because they have received some sponsorship from UT Holdings, who are the mother company of UT Bank. Now, the $30,000 that they have received is part of a one-year sponsorship deal that the two agreed last season.
We find that it's quite a privilege to be associated with Amida's. Sometime last year, actually after the beginning of last year's league, we approached Amida's and said we wanted to have a relationship by way of giving them sponsorship. And this sponsorship was also to benefit us because they will carry UT's name across the whole country. So we experimented with the second half, right? And I think the feedback we get is quite good. The team is good, they're quite responsible, and they played respectably last season. This year they've started on a good note, and we expect that they should be in the top 3 or top 4 by the end of the season. And we've decided to renew our relationship with them for the full season, not just half the season as in last year. I think we should develop this further, and it should encourage other institutions to also help the football business or the industry in this country.
Oh, seriously, this means a lot. I don't have to tell you, this means a lot because, without money, you can't run a club in Ghana here. Where do you, at least ask yourself, where do you get money from football in Ghana here? Before when we were young, when you go to the stadium, you see any match at all, you see the stadium will be filled with capacity. But today, you go to the stadium, sometimes we play match and after the match, the sports authority will give you 100 Ghana cedis as gift proceeds. 100 Ghana cedis. What do you do with? Before any match, our preparation, we go to hotel, we pay about 1,000 Ghana, food and others. At least before we play the match, we spend about 1,600, 1,700 Ghana cedis every week. And then you play and then you make 100 Ghana. So at least if you have people like UT sponsoring, at least, Master, is a big thing.
Certainly a good one for Amida's professionals, and I hope that all the other Premier League teams would emulate this example and not expect sponsorship to come from the FA before they go about their duties. They should source for their own funding. It's a very good step in the right direction. Now, away from that, let's go to the foreign front and speak there and check out what's happening with Ghana striker Richmond Boakye-Adam, who suffered a major injury over the weekend whilst playing for Elche in the Spanish La Liga. There's an update on his injury situation.
The player is recovering now. The player he's okay now. The information I got from the doctors, he had a slight back injury, just a pain in the back. Luckily for us, he did not have any broken bones or cracks in his bones. So it was just a shock from the crash of the goalkeeper, and that's why he fainted. Now he's recovering and it's good. He's now walking. He can do things on his own now. So,
but do you have any idea when he's expected to return?
If I want to estimate, it wouldn't be more than 2 weeks. He should be back on the pitch.
So you heard the voice of Oliver Asa, who is a FIFA agent and also the manager for Richmond Boakye-Adam. Now, just before I go, there were some matches played in the Capital One Cup in England last night, and so we have Newcastle United losing to Manchester City by 2-0 at the St James Park. Tottenham Hotspur at the White Hart Lane laboured to beat Hull City after extra time. So Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur, they joined the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United for the 5th round of the English capital. Cup. Away from England, let's check out what happened in Italy in the Serie A. AC Milan 1, Lazio 1, Cagliari 0, Bologna 3, Fiorentina 1, SSC Napoli 2, Genoa 1, Parma 0, Hellas Verona 2, Sampdoria 0, Juventus 4, Catania 0, Livorno 3, Torino 3, Sassuolo 1, Udinese 2. And then in the Spanish La Liga, Valencia 1, Almeria 2, Valladolid 2, Real Sociedad 2, Osasuna 3, Rayo Vallecano 1. And the biggest scoreline for the night, Real Madrid 7, Sevilla FC 3. On that note, sports is done on the AM show. My name is Rashida Baba Kadiri. Sports was made possible.